picture this, right? You're walking into a warm, cozy room on a relaxed Sunday afternoon.
Sounds pretty ideal, honestly.
Right, and you're invited to just settle in, maybe grab a cup of coffee, get totally comfortable. But there's a catch.
Uh-oh. There's
Uh,
always a catch.
Always. You were wearing a heavy, soaking wet winter coat.
Oh, wow. Like a thick wool coat that is just completely drenched.
Exactly. Drenched, dragging you down, dictating literally your every movement. And you can't take it off. Everyone else in the room is in T-shirts. They're relaxed. They're laughing.
But you're just trapped inside this heavy, wet fabric.
Yeah. It fundamentally changes how you sit, how you talk, really how you interact with the world. And that feeling of being trapped in your own physical presentation is actually the hidden driver behind a massive and I think often misunderstood industry.
You're talking about cross-border cosmetic transformations, right?
I am, yeah.
It completely flips the traditional narrative. I mean, the assumption is usually that we're looking at an industry driven by superficiality, just vanity.
Right, like chasing perfection.
Exactly. But analyzing the patient accounts in today's sources reveals something entirely different. We are looking at people who are desperately trying to shed an invisible weight.
Which brings us to today's deep dive. So whether you are insanely curious about how this all works, or maybe you're sitting there contemplating a personal journey of your own, we are getting straight to the heart of why people take this leap.
And crucially, how they do it with complete peace of mind.
Right, using platforms like PlacidWay. So before we look at the travel or the platform, we really need to understand that emotional catalyst, because like you said, the intent here isn't vanity at all.
No, not at all. When you evaluate the psychology of these patients, the driving force is it's about a deep internal mismatch. It's the intense mental discomfort a person feels when their internal reality, who they know they are, doesn't match their external reality.
It's like wearing that wet coat.
Yes. Your brain perceives that mismatch as this constant low-level threat. It just drains a massive amount of psychological energy to look in the mirror and see, well, a stranger.
I want to ground this with a real story from our research because it really stood out to me. There's this patient, Sarah, a marketing manager from Texas.
Oh, right. She was seeking a mommy makeover.
Yeah, and her account is just, it's remarkably raw. She talks about loving her children endlessly, obviously, but feeling like her physical self was entirely erased in the process.
Which is such a common, heartbreaking feeling.
It really is.
Hmm.
She started avoiding mirrors entirely because her physical confidence had vanished. She felt completely disconnected from the woman she knew herself to be.
Well, and we have to look at the physical reality of what Sarah was experiencing. A lot of people might ask, why couldn't she just hit the gym?
Right, or change her diet. That's the classic pushback.
Exactly. But the reality of post-pregnancy changes often involves structural alterations that no amount of crunches or dieting can fix.
Because the physical foundation has fundamentally changed.
Right. Her body accommodated a child, and in doing so, things stretched beyond their elastic limit. So the procedure isn't about, trying to look like a 20-year-old.
It's a structural repair.
Exactly. Bringing your body back to its functional, recognizable baseline, restoring harmony.
That makes total sense. And we see this bleeding into professional lives in the sources too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
There are accounts from David J., a real estate broker, and Amanda P., an HR manager. In their fields, confidence and how you carry yourself are like vital tools of the trade.
Yeah, if you're subconsciously trying to hide behind that wet winter coat, you just aren't fully present in a negotiation or an interview.
Exactly. I mean, isn't there a risk, though, that people are just chasing a superficial fix for an internal problem?
I get why people think that. But the source material clearly shows a deep alignment between outer appearance and inner emotional health. Human beings are profoundly visual social creatures.
We pick up on those micro expressions of discomfort.
We do. David and Amanda weren't seeking out transformations to look like fitness models, They recognized that their internal lack of confidence was manifesting externally, and it was actively hurting their professional lives.
There's a quote from one of Dr. Ari Papadopoulos' patients that really nails this. They explicitly told their doctor they wanted to look rested, not done.
Rested, not done. That is such a specific, telling phrase.
Right. It's not about artificial enhancement at all. It's about restoration.
Restoring that harmony so they don't have to spend so much daily energy fighting that disconnect.
But, taking off that wet coat isn't always as simple as deciding to fix an isolated issue. For a specific group in our research, the post-weight loss patients, their bodies literally won't let them move forward
The massive weight loss demographic is perhaps the most striking example of this.
because they've done massive internal and physical work, right? But their physical reality remains trapped.
Yeah, these are individuals who have fundamentally altered their lifestyle. They achieved this monumental victory. But the mechanics of human skin create this devastating hurdle.
Because skin isn't infinitely elastic.
Far from it. When skin is stretched significantly over a long period, it loses its ability to bounce back. It's like taking a rubber band, stretching it to its absolute maximum for 5 years, and then letting go.
It just doesn't snap back.
No, it just hangs there.
So these patients lose like 100 pounds, but they are left wearing the literal physical shell of their former selves. The psychological toll of that has to be immense.
It's completely overwhelming.
It's like running a grueling marathon, pushing through unimaginable pain, finally seeing the finish line, and exactly 1 inch before you can cross it, someone drops a solid brick wall in your path.
That is a great analogy. You ran the race, but you're physically blocked from the victory.
And that brick wall comes with severe physical complications too, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Look at Michael R. from Texas in our case studies.
Yeah.
He lost 140 pounds.
Wow, 140 pounds. That's incredible.
An objectively incredible achievement. Yet he was plagued by severe mobility issues and chronic chafing.
Which is incredibly painful.
Constantly. And then consider Amanda S. from Florida. She had 12 pounds of excess skin removed.
12 pounds just of skin.
Think about the physical strain of carrying 12 pounds of redundant tissue. When she said the removal changed my life entirely, she meant it structurally just as much as emotionally.
I'm putting myself in their shoes, looking at this massive brick wall. If I've just survived an exhausting, life-altering journey to lose 140 pounds, the idea of traveling across a border for yet another transformation, wouldn't that be completely overwhelming?
Oh, the logistical paralysis is where a massive percentage of these journeys stall out. The sheer volume of unknowns is terrifying.
Which is where our source material introduces the architecture of PlacidWay. The sources indicate that PlacidWay's model works by neutralizing those overwhelming feelings before the patient ever leaves home.
Exactly. The anxiety of the unknown is solved by this trusted, stress-free bridge.
Right, take Roberto from El Salvador. He suffered from really tired eyes that made him feel completely disconnected.
He described PlacidWay as his guiding light, right?
Yes, because it systematically removed all the guesswork.
Looking at how the platform operates, it bypasses traditional hurdles by acting as a vetted ecosystem. It isn't just like a bulletin board of doctors.
Right, they provide dedicated support and verify the credentials.
They compile unvarnished patient reviews and organize the logistics, which allows the patient to shift their focus from risk assessment to just getting ready for the trip.
And a central feature of that is the virtual consultation. Sarah, the mother from Texas, and Roberto, they were able to sit in their living rooms, maybe on a Sunday afternoon, just like this one, and have face-to-face video calls with elite, verified professionals.
Like Dr. Jorge Sandoval in Mexico City and Dr. Victor Samano in Cancun.
Exactly. Removing the middleman is critical here.
Dr. Samano notes that the most valuable commodity in cross-border care isn't price, it's unwavering trust.
Wait, hold on. I have to challenge this a bit.
Go for it.
A video call is great for, catching up with family, but we are talking about life-changing transformations. Can a video call from a living room couch really establish enough trust for someone to get on an airplane?
That's a fair question. But the video call alone wouldn't be enough. What establishes that profound sense of security is the transparency of PlacidWay.
The scaffolding surrounding the call.
Exactly. Providing the verified background, the unfiltered experiences of previous patients, a clear, surprise-free path. When you have access to all that, the video call ceases to be an introduction and becomes a targeted conversation.
You aren't asking, are you a real doctor? You're asking, how will you manage my specific case?
Right. It establishes a profound sense of security before the bags are even packed.
Okay, I see the distinction. The trust is built on a foundation of transparent, accessible support. So the trust is established, the trip is booked, and we move into the final phase, the actual on-the-ground experience in Mexico.
Which is really where the physical recovery triggers an emotional rebirth.
Yeah, the sources highlight destinations like Ensenada, often referred to as the Cinderella of the Pacific.
It's such an idyllic coastal setting.
It is, but we aren't just talking about a nice view for a vacation photo. The tranquil environment actively lowers stress and promotes a positive recovery.
There is a direct link between environmental stress and healing. When you are free of daily domestic stressors, your body can optimize its natural healing capabilities.
That makes the luxury recovery houses mentioned in the sources so important. I'm looking at the accounts from patients like Jennifer D. and Kevin T.
They detail their time in these dedicated recovery houses, emphasizing the 247 nursing staff.
And the word that keeps popping up in their accounts is dignity.
Being treated with total dignity during a highly vulnerable time cannot be overstated.
Kevin T. explicitly mentioned this. He noted the immense relief of not having to rely on his wife in a random hotel room.
Instead, he was cared for by professionals whose sole objective was his safety and comfort. It removes the guilt from the recovery process.
It's essentially like a chrysalis, a dedicated safe space specifically designed for a person to undergo metamorphosis and emerge renewed.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
But is this recovery period just about resting the body, or is there active emotional work happening?
Oh, there is absolutely active emotional work happening. Being cared for with profound dignity in a stress-free environment allows the patient to emotionally process their transformation.
Ensuring they return home revitalized on the inside, too.
Exactly. They are finally given the psychological space to integrate this massive change.
Let's bring this all back to Sarah to see how that integration actually plays out. Her emotional climax in the sources is just incredibly poignant.
The success wasn't measured in a grand cinematic reveal.
No, it was measured in small, quiet victories within her recovery house. She talked about the profound relief of waking up to an attentive nursing team.
She celebrated taking her first unassisted shower.
Right, and she noted the sensation of physically standing up a little straighter each day. And then there was the moment she finally looked into the mirror and saw her restored silhouette.
The sources say she wept tears of pure joy.
Because she didn't just heal physically, she reclaimed her life. She returned home to Texas as a more active, engaged mother and wife.
The mind-body disconnect was finally resolved.
She no longer had to expend energy fighting the reflection in the mirror. She finally took off that heavy, wet winter coat.
And looking objectively at PlacidWay, the value of the platform is providing the support that makes these profound personal reclamations possible without adding to the patient's stress.
It systematizes the journey so the individual can focus entirely on returning to themselves, guided by verified experts.
It's deeply supported, empathetic care from start to finish.
Well, as we gently bring our Sunday chat to a close, it really becomes clear that these journeys aren't just about changing a silhouette.
Not at all. It's a path to returning to oneself.
So, as you finish your coffee and enjoy the rest of your afternoon, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over.
This is a big one.
It is. Throughout this deep dive, we have looked closely at the physical changes these transformations bring, the structural repairs, the removal of excess tissue, but consider the massive amount of mental real estate a person gets back when this process is complete.
Just the sheer volume of psychological bandwidth that is suddenly freed up.
Right. Think about the hours spent worrying about an insecurity, the energy drained by avoiding mirrors, the subtle exhaustion of constantly adjusting how you present yourself to the world.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
Imagine what you could accomplish, what you could create, or simply how much more joy you could absorb in a single day if you were no longer spending a fraction of your daily energy worrying about a physical insecurity.
Imagine what it feels like to finally take off that heavy, drenched coat.
Leave it permanently at the door and just walk freely into the rest of your life.